In a series of videos, I will show you how you can automate your API tests written in Postman by using a tool called Newman and integrating them in a continuous integration server like Jenkins, for example. And there will be a series of videos where I will take you step by step during the process. Now, let's get started with this tutorial. So when we're discussing API testing, there are basically two ways on how you can go. On the right side, you can take the way of automatic API testing, and on the left side, you have, of course, manual testing. And this is the direction that we generally want to go. We want to automate things. And in order to do that, we already have some possibilities. Now, the thing is, so far, you're probably using Postman to have your collections inside, to write tests, to manually test things. And you probably now have written some tests and you want to go to the next stage where you can automate the execution of your collection of your tests. And there are multiple ways on how you can do that. Of course, built in Postman, there's the collection runner, which provides some sort of an automation, and there are the Postman monitors, which we'll discuss in other videos. Now, in this video, this makes possible to integrate it any continuous integration server. And that piece of software is called Newman. And as you can see in this image, Newman is the gateway to all these other tools that you can use. And this is why it's first important to understand how Newman works. And then next we'll have a look on how to integrate in one of these continuous integration server and to automatically run tests there. Now, in case you're wondering, why is automation important? Why should you do that? What is wrong if you can put it that way? Why shouldn't you manually test your API and that's it? And there are a couple of reasons why you should pay attention to automation. So the first and most important thing is that automation reduces repetitive work. So think in terms of manually testing your API every time something changes in the development. And this takes time, takes effort, and most importantly, it takes attention to see if there are any bugs or see if the API is performing differently. The second is that when you're doing automation, you will get instant feedback when something does not work anymore. So if you have API tests in place, once the Postman collection is executed, then every time the collection runs, so for example, imagine that every time a developer change the code, you start the API collection, you start the API test collection to see if everything is working. If that particular commit introduced the bug, you'll get instant feedback on it identifying the problem. And it's important that you will be very fast at this process. So you'll know maybe in a matter of minutes right after commit happened that something goes wrong. And regarding that part, it comes a third advantage that you will have is that you will be able to identify software bugs very early in the development process. So there's no need of deploying a piece of software to a test system or to a pre-production system if you already can identify pretty early that you have some bugs there. And this should not end up on a production server, more importantly. So now that we have clear what are the advantages, let's see exactly what you are going to do in all these tutorials. So in the first video, we'll have a look at the installation and we'll install Newman and make sure that it works on your own machine. And then in the second video, we'll have a look at a more advanced usage of Newman so that you can understand the ins and outs of Newman and how it works. And third, we will use Newman in order to integrate with a continuous integration server. In this case, we'll be using Jenkins because it's very popular, but the principles that I will be showing in Jenkins apply to any other continuous integration server as well.